As we know, the Sussexes have had their contract with Netflix renewed in a downgraded form. Bella Bajaria, the head of content for Netflix, particularly praised Harry and Meghan, their six-part documentary, something that was destructive so far as the royal family was concerned, but something that many, many millions watched. Netflix obviously were hinting that they wanted something that had royal links. There's no doubt at all that that is apparently what is being considered, according to reports. In 2027, it's 30 years since the tragic death of Diana. She was like a meteor. She was truly unique in the way she could reach out to others, HIV/AIDS sufferers, cancer sufferers, campaign against landmines and so forth. But she also was deeply manipulative and had a symbiotic relationship with the press. It's thought that Harry and Meghan may well be discussing the possibility of making what one presumes will be a documentary or perhaps a series, who knows, that is linked to 30 years after Diana's death. In 2017, 20 years after, William and Harry were in documentaries for BBC and ITV about Diana. But this would, if they did go ahead with it, might very well be extremely controversial. Netflix have a first option on what they produce. They'd undoubtedly want this because this would, it's unquestioned, it would have a huge audience. But there are dangers in this, very considerable dangers. Firstly, what would they include? If it was simply hagiographic and simply some memories Harry had personally, that might be one thing. But this would prove that if it didn't have a royal link, what else could they do? I mean, we've been waiting some time for some form of adaptation of the novel Meet Me at the Lake. Their documentaries, there's going to be one on the Ugandan orphanage, I understand, and certainly in the past the Polo series and also The Heart of Invictus about the games, they didn't draw an audience. This would, but underlining the fact that they're reliant on the royals, it shows yet again how they monetize their royal connections. Oprah, Harry and Meghan docuseries, Spare, and those were the three that were the most destructive. And so far as Diana is concerned, of course, the War of the Waleses. Well, deeply destructive. At the moment, of course, King Charles and Queen Camilla, they would find any rehash of what happened many years ago questionably somewhat embarrassing. And of course, what would William think of some of the footage if it appeared, and how Harry handled it? Certainly he wouldn't be someone who'd have anything to do with it, because the brothers reportedly have not spoken in what must be getting on for 3 years. So you've got a hypersensitive topic. there's no doubt also that they don't seem to be doing a great deal else. Meghan's cookery series, part 2, with Love Meghan, opens tomorrow with an 8 that we'll have to wait through, I suppose. The first seemed to simply, well, it was panned by the critics, but if you looked at all these rather luscious, very, very empty, and it seems really there was so much self-love about it. When Mindy Kaling, the actress, said to Meghan, she called her Meghan Markle, and was told that now she's Sussex, it sounded so pretentious. The whole thing was vacuous, and I gather it's 38% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is not impressive. And they filmed the two back to back, so although the trailer for the second part indicated that they'd learnt a little, Meghan didn't seemed rather more keen to hear what others had to say. There's only a certain amount they could have done, I suspect, to tamper with it. What will be interesting will be the Christmas special, because if you look at the cast list for the first series, which was not impressive, and the second, beginning tomorrow, was also devoid of A-listers, they will urgently need Serena Williams or someone of similar stature at Christmas. Because you've got to ask, what about the Sussexes A-listers? If their wedding, I mean, we had the Clooneys who didn't know Meghan, we had the Beckhams, and they've reportedly since fallen out. James Corden, well, Harry's been on his Late Late Show, yes. But from Idris Elba to Carey Mulligan, where the genuine A-listers, there were so many there, and they don't seem to want to appear. I mean, there were reports that Meghan wanted Beyonce and Taylor Swift for her podcasts. In fact, she isn't planning, as far as I know, to be doing further podcasts. They simply aren't in demand. And Harry's angry interview with the BBC, when he lost his case at the High Court over the security that he wanted for himself and his family, talking about taking it, that the case should go to the Prime Minister or the Home Secretary. Also, the idea that he could say in an interview he didn't know how much longer his father, who's King Charles, is battling cancer, actually had. So my bet is that when he comes over in September, although there was the meeting of royal aides of the royal family and the Sussexes at the Royal Overseas League, which somebody leaked or somebody happened to photograph, my bet is that he and the King, who's based at Balmoral most of the time, may well not meet. However, we will have to see. But reconciliation obviously is something that's desirable. At the moment, I don't see it getting much closer. But when it comes to making any form of documentary or documentary series about Diana, I think Meghan and Harry should think very, very carefully before they tread there, because that could cause even more trouble for them.